The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Almost had to send out the search party for you this morning, but you are here, you're awake, and hopefully ready for the day.
Ready, wakey. Almost missed it. So actually, little truth be told, last night when I got home at work, got home about 11:30, and I was putting together the show, and I was doing it while sitting on the couch. I fell asleep, so I didn't. I got like 2 news articles ready, and then I woke up at 5:30. Because there was an alarm that did go off. So I went upstairs, and then like I laid there and I put together the rest of the show. Like, so I had my segment, everything sat there for like 40 minutes, just putting it together. And I was like, cool, reset the alarm. But the problem is the alarm never went back off. And it turns out I set it a little later. So I was telling Kristian off air, like it was one of those where you're sleeping really good and you know you probably shouldn't be. So long story short, I'm here, got everything ready. I'm that panic wake, so I'm ready to go.
Right.
So,
Good news is you look like you feel better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday I felt like crapola, yeah. And then thanks to Friday, she said you can get the Rona twice, but I feel good today. I'm still just tired.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with the scheduling. And trying to go to sleep and not getting a good amount of sleep. So
Exactly. Well, folks, let's go ahead and kick things off the way we do each and every day with a question from my co-host. Now, in reading this article, there are so many different ways that I could have asked questions, but they all would have been extremely inappropriate without the context. So we're gonna calm it down a little bit. Tony, would you ever buy anything from Gwyneth Paltrow's all-natural, whatever it is, called Goop?
I know where this is going. I actually have this in my entertainment news.
Oh, do you?
Go ahead. Yeah. I had to come up with one. I'm gonna do this for the sake of the audience. I know what he's gonna say on this one, but I would buy Pepper Potts tea because Pepper Potts tea is calming.
I like it.
I know where this is going, but we'll say Pepper Potts tea.
All right. Well, with that being said, a vagina-scented candle by Gwyneth Paltrow exploded into flames, causing an inferno in one woman's living room. Jodie Thompson, 50, won the risque products sold by the Hollywood star and wellness guru in an online quiz. The candle is described on Gwyneth's Goop site. Why would you name it Goop?
Why would you name it Goop?
I know.
And then like the candle that says "This is my vagina" by Gwyneth Paltrow. Like it's supposed to give her girly scent.
Right.
I read this article. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, the candle is described as funny, gorgeous, sexy, and beautifully unexpected. But Jodie was
it's pink like a peach.
Right.
It's really.
But Jodie was taken by surprise after lighting it when a 50-centimeter flame leapt from the candle and out of the glass jar. The media consultant told The Sun the candle exploded and emitted a huge flame with bits flying everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. The whole thing was ablaze and it was too hot to touch. There was an inferno in the room. God, there's so much innuendo that you could
There's
put
so
in here.
much in your windows, and on top of that, as you're doing this, I'm picturing like Gwyneth Paltrow from Iron Man 3 when she's on fire, like when she's all raging.
Smell my vagina.
Jody, who lives with partner David Snow in Kilbourne, North London, said, "We eventually got it under control and threw it out the front door. It could have burned the place
I
down."
like how it's just my partner.
Right. It was
This
scary.
is my partner, David.
my hetero life mate.
Yeah.
It was scary at the time, but funny to look back at Gwyneth's vagina candle exploding in my living room. Gwyneth, 48, launched the This Smells Like My Vagina candle last year. The scent has now been used for a $34 roll-on deodorant. Holy cow, that's expensive. A Goop spokeswoman told The Sun, "We're in touch with the woman to see if she followed the specific fire safety instructions included with the candle, such as trimming the wick and not burning it for more than 2 hours." At Goop, we vet the products we sell and make customer safety a priority. So we've alerted the manufacturer to the woman's issue and have also reached out to her to send her some Goop products to help pass the days in quarantine. It sounds like she lit it fresh and didn't need to follow any of the fire safety, like trimming the wick. That vagina candle just exploded.
Yeah, it's like that thing was caged up for years or something. Like it was just ready to be exposed.
Just ready
It
to
had
have
a lot of energy.
that fire lit.
Yep, it had a lot of energy built up, a lot of pent up frustration in that candle.
Exactly. Well, folks, we have a wonderful show lined up for you guys today. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
Hump Day! Yeah!
It is Hump Day. It is Wednesday, and as we do on Wednesdays, we've got Words Are Hard. We have a segment called Bye Roomie. Our call-in topic today is streaming wars. What is the best streaming service and why? We have a segment called The Lighter Side of Satan.
Satan.
We close out the day with This Day in History, and Tony is up next with the entertainment news. Folks, don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at fenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. Now we have a little thing called the Fenix Line. It is our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you had a vagina candle explode on you. We want to know about it. Maybe it was Gwyneth Paltrow's own vagina candle. Still let us know. That number, 855-Fenix Radio. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Speaking of entertaining, Tony is here with the entertainment news.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, and here's your Filippo Fast Five. The Naked Gun reboot wants Liam Neeson in the lead role. Liam Neeson has revealed that he has been approached by Seth MacFarlane for a remake of The Naked Gun. I don't know if he'd be so good for that, but then again, if it's done by Seth MacFarlane, maybe. Iced Earth and Demons and Wizards, these are metal bands, are no longer listed on Century Media Records' website following guitarist John Schaefer's participation in the Capitol riot earlier this month. Century Media seems to have scrubbed all traces of the two bands. Iced Earth used to open up for Volbeat back in the day.
Yeah, they did. They're a
Mr.
good band.
John Schaefer! This is why, unfortunately, you can't mix your politics with your personal businesses. Stuff like that happens, unfortunately. Stupid. Netflix is planning to roll out a new shuffle play feature that uses this year's it's a good thing Wednesdays is words are hard. Netflix is planning to roll out a new shuffle play feature to users this year following a successful period of testing. Also, you don't have to worry because you, Kristian, are the best shuffle play when it comes to movies and stuff. Just, we're watching this. We're watching this. Netflix surpasses 200 million subscribers, fitting for streaming wars today. And Tiger King's Joe Exotic does not receive a pardon from Donald Trump on the way out.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah, you're still going to be stuck in there, buddy. They even had a limo all prepped and ready just in case Trump...
Did he really expect that Trump was going to pardon him?
He was pretty gung-ho about it,
Well.
but that is obviously not happening. But I guess when you're in prison, I guess you have a little faith that it's going to happen. Hell, Lil Wayne got pardoned today.
Yeah?
I don't know what Lil Wayne did, but he got pardoned.
My guess it probably wasn't a murder for hire plot, so...
yeah. Murder for hire, not going to get you pardoned.
Nope.
Sorry, sir. No, blah, blah, blah. Jeez. Okay, we'll move on to the real news now, because I can't even talk unscriptedly today. I was just trying to go off the brain. Saved by the Bell, the revival got renewed for season 2. It's time to head back to Bayside as the popular Saved by the Bell revival series is getting another go-round at the Peacock. The iconic sitcom was brought back this past year with the first season of the revival debuting on the Peacock streaming service. Zach Morris, Jesse Spano, AC Slater, Lisa Turtle, Kelly Kapowski all returned for the new series, which follows a younger generation of lead characters. Peacock officially announced the renewal of Saved by the Bell on Tuesday morning, confirming the popular reboot would return. The series has been a hit with fans ever since its 2020 debut. The first season of Saved by the Bell ended with a bit of a cliffhanger for fans of the series. After much of the season focused on the students of Douglas High being sent to Bayside, there was talk of the schools being separated once again. The season concluded with Daisy staging a walkout in order to keep the former Douglas students at Bayside. I'm thrilled to have Saved by the Bell renewed, executive producer Tracy Wingfield said in a statement. I've been blown away by all the love for this show and can't wait to go back to make more episodes. Hopefully we stay on the Peacock for many more seasons. Then in 30 years, somebody does a reboot of our reboot and invents the 3-boot.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
How about no on that? This is Saved by, like, it's going to be weird if we're grandparents and Saved by the Bell is still around. Like, it comes back as reboots.
Yeah.
Back when I was young, Kelly Kapowski was quite the she.
She was the bee's knees.
She was the bee's knees, little Tony. Thanks, Grandpa. Anyways, so yeah, Saved by the Bell coming back. Speaking of who the hell cares, Willy Wonka prequel is coming. And it has
Oh
a
my
release
God,
date.
who the hell cares?
And it's done by the Paddington director. Warner Brothers has shared a release date and short synopsis for Wonka, a new Willy Wonka prequel from Paddington director Paul King. According to the studio, Wonka will explore the earlier years of the titular character before he became an eccentric candy maker, as the movie will tell the story of young Willy Wonka and his adventures prior to opening the world's most famous chocolate factory. It will open for audiences to pick up their Golden Theater tickets on March 17th, 2023. King will be taken to the director's chair with David Heyman, whose past credits include the Harry Potter franchise and Paddington. We'll be producing the long-jesting Willy Wonka spin-off from Simon Rich, who recently penned the Seth Rogen comedy An American Pickle. All three of these names have been attached to the project. Okay. Did anyone ask for this? Was anyone, like, who thought this was a good idea?
Right. Now, to be fair, the Paddington movies are actually pretty good. They're pretty clever. They're fun if you've got kids. So, probably a good pick for director, but the subject matter, I mean, is it derived from a Roald Dahl book? Is it something that somebody just made up? There's a lot of questions hanging out there, but, I will reserve judgment, but not something I'm clamoring for.
Yeah, no. Like, and I'm sure that's how it was when Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp came out. I'm sure people of the original were like, oh, great. I happen to like that Tim Burton one. I think Tim Burton was the big intrigue there because he's so weird, and the visuals that he does, they figured that Willy Wonka was going to be just strange and odd. I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't care for it much at all. Being a big fan of that one?
No, I'm a big fan of the original Gene Wilder one, and yeah.
Daddy, I want a squirrel, not just any squirrel. I want that squirrel. That was pretty entertaining. Johnny Depp was a weird character in that one.
Well, he's always a weird character.
Yeah, he's definitely frightening. Well, unfortunately, he's not a character anymore. I don't think you'll see old Johnny in anything anytime soon.
Yeah, he'll come back in the next 5 years. He'll lay low for a little while. He'll come back. People will forget all about what's going on in his personal life. It's just the way Hollywood goes, unfortunately.
Yep, he hooked up with the wrong lady. Ruh-roh. Let's go back to our childhood for this story. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle retro villains and sewer layer figure box sets are live right now. So if you're a toy collector, Playmates has launched 2 different Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle box sets that are loaded with reissues of the 80s Playmates TMNT figures with oversized roto hollow heads. The villains and sewer layer boxes includes the 6 figures each and compact in themed carrying case. They're limited edition. Needless to say, longtime Turtle fans will be very into these Playmates sets. A breakdown of the figures of the villains and sewer layer boxes included are as follow. You can get the Retro Villains Mutant Module Rotocast, which is the old little drill machine that used to go underground to the Technodrome.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be $99.99. You can go to Entertainment Earth to pre-order these. The figures include Bebop, Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, Slash, Krang, Foot Soldier, and it comes out in June 2021. You can pre-order now. I don't think I would have included Slash in that one.
No.
Per se. I would have left him out. I would have put like General Trag in there, probably.
Right. Put Metalhead in there.
And the reason why you don't... Well, they should have put Shredder, to be honest with you, in this batch.
Right.
That would have made sense for a villains thing, because then when you go to the Sewer Layer Retrocast, which includes the heroes, in this one, of course, you get Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, Splinter, and Shredder. And it comes in a party wagon packaging. So they definitely should have put Shredder in that, and I would have probably put April O'Neil or even Casey Jones in the Heroes pack. But you know what? I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I don't care either way. These are very cool. They're definitely the Ninja Turtle toys that we grew up in. The packaging is quite 80s for sure. So
shut up and take my money.
Into that? Exactly. You can go on to Entertainment Earth now and pre-order that. That will be $89.99 for the hero one for free shipping, and the villains one will be $99. Again, my only gripe is probably the Slash character on that. So
yeah, it makes sense.
I digress. That vamped up enough time to eat some entertainment candle vagina news there. So. Oh, kind of cool news out of Oakland. Ex-A's pitcher Dave Stewart submitted a $115 million bid to buy the city of Oakland share of the Coliseum, with plans to develop the site. With the NBA's Warriors moving to San Francisco and the Raiders moving to Vegas, it's kind of left the A's as the last pro team in Oakland and using the Coliseum. The team has undergone steps to build a new ballpark at Howard Terminal about 7 miles uptown. The A's currently own the other half of the Coliseum. So with Dave Stewart popping in, he said, Oakland has always been a home to me, and anything I could do to give back to the community, I would like to. So he's pitched in $115 million of his share to help out the city of Oakland in hopes to build the A's a team, so that way the A's don't leave Oakland. And as the Coliseum is a really old, dated stadium, it'd be nice to have modern day stuff. So maybe this will get fan base in the A's. I think with the Oakland being kind of a small town market, it's a little tough. But I think it's really cool that he put a bid. No word if this will go through, but at least he stepped up to want to help out and get things going for the city of Oakland there.
Yeah, no, it's nice when somebody who truly loves and believes in a team can go and reinvest in it and hopefully make something of it.
Yeah, I hope so. It's always surprising, when being from northern Nevada, teams that you would root for when you lived there was, or like when I lived there growing up, was the San Francisco Giants, were obviously the popular baseball team, or you'd go a little south for the Dodgers. Those were kind of your teams you'd root for. Of course, you had the A's, but you saw more Giants and Dodgers fans than anything else. And
definitely.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And then, of course, with football, it was the Niners were big, and the Raiders, of course, now being a Nevada team. The Raiders are quite huge in Nevada.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But anyways, I digress. This is sports talk. It's entertainment news, and you know what comes after all that? The birthdays. Let's roll under the birthdays. It's my birthday! All right. Hello, Sydney. Do you like scary movies? Because old Billy Loomis does. Skeet Ulrich is 51. I know he's in other things, but I can only take a scream this morning.
That's all right.
Fresh from Schrute Farms, Mr. Dwight Schrute is out of the office, and it's his birthday. Rainn Wilson is 55. To infinity and beyond, the second person to ever walk on the moon. He was the pilot of NASA's Apollo 11 mission. No sign of Zurg. And no, I'm not talking Tim Allen. I'm talking Buzz Aldrin is 91. Little swerve there. Swervy. You wanted the best? You got the best. The Star Child, the guitarist for the Knights in Satan's Services, or just Kiss, is 69. That's Mr. Paul Stanley. And lastly, co-founder and bassist for the Grammy Award-winning band, Judas Priest. Ian Hill is 70. Happy freaking birthdays, y'all.
Well, folks, that does it for the entertainment news. When we come back, it is Wednesday, and words are hard. Stick with us. We'll be back right after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. No sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. It is the Kristian Fenix radio show on a Wednesday, January 20th. Now, many of you are watching us right now as we speak on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. And you know what? We are all over social media. If you want to get a hold of us, I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Fenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Fenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, it is Wednesday, and as we like to do on Wednesdays, is explore the English language, the weirdness of it, and some of the strange things that come out of it with a segment we like to call Words Are Hard. Now, Tony, you're not off the hook on this segment. We are doing an impromptu spelling bee. I'm going to give you some words that, people can never get quite right. Have you ever looked at a word that you've spelled out? You know it's right, but it just doesn't feel like it looks right, and it's just strange in your head.
Yeah, there are some words like that, and then sometimes I'll delete it, and then I'll do a voice text just to see if, or a voice, like well, don't talk, but that way it'll spell it out right, and you're like, yep, I guess I was correct.
I'll do that too. You know, I'll spell it out, and then I'll have to jump over to Google, and I'll put it into the Google search just to make sure it's spelled right. But it just doesn't look quite right. So we're going to run down some words, see if Tony can spell these correctly, because they're not exactly the easiest. They've got extra letters, extra vowels that sometimes just don't make sense. So let's go ahead and kick off Words Are Hard with this first one. All right, Tony, how do you spell the word nauseous?
Nauseous. It's like Nouicaus, and that's not right. So weird. I think I have to spell it out, like mentally. I'm gonna get a piece of paper.
There you go. That's probably a good idea.
Because mentally, I'm like, oh, that's not right. So let me get my little paper.
Nauseous is one of those words that it's a long word. It only has 3 consonants in it, and the rest of it is vowels. It's Nauseous. Nauseous.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, I was off on that one.
Let's move on to the next one. Another N word. Again, not quite sure how or where to put the vowels in. What about the word noticeable?
Noticeable, okay, that is. Noticable. Would not be a good one on this, that's for sure.
It is literally the conjunction of notice and able, so it's Noticeable. Again, ooh. Words are hard, folks. You know, it's a confusing language. All right. While it is the 20th today, Tony, how would you spell the word 12th?
12th is Twelth. Not a good speller, I guess.
There's actually an F in there. It's Twelfth. 12th.
Really?
Yeah.
12th. Oh,
you would expect there to be a V in there if that was the case, but no. Words are hard. This is one that I screw up every single time that I type it. The word is entrepreneur. It's a long one. A lot of E's.
All right. Entrepreneur.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Entrepreneur.
You added a few extra E's and U's in there. It's Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. There's 2 extra letters in there.
And it's entrepreneur. It's a penure.
Dude, these are words are hard to spell.
It is. Hey, hence the reason we call this segment Words Are Hard. Here's another one where, I never quite know where the double letters come in. Tony, go ahead and spell the word embarrassing. Kind of like your attempts at this game.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
All right. Embarrassing.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
It's 2 R's, 2 S's, so it's Embarrassing.
I missed an R on that one.
You missed an R.
Biscuits.
Let's move on to the next one here, and Words Are Hard. While your play here may be embarrassing, let's just hope you're not mischievous. How do you spell the word mischievous? And I'll give you a hint.
All right.
Pronunciation doesn't really work out the way that it's spelled.
Okay. You definitely don't want me on your team if it's a spelling game. M-I-S-C-H-I-V-I-C-O-U-S.
Well, it's pronounced mischievous. It's actually spelled more mischievous. It's M-I-S-C-H-I-E-V-O-U-S.
O-U-S. Dang it. Okay. It's like if you looked at it, you would know what I was saying, but unfortunately, it is not spelled right. So.
Yeah. But these are the ones that always get people, you know. You'll be writing it out, and of course, you know, if you're on Word or you're on anything online, you get that little red underline underneath it. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? And of course, it's usually off by one letter or whatever it may be. But you know what? Words are hard. Tony, here's another one that I always screw up. What about the word vacuum? How do you spell the word vacuum?
It's V-A-C-C-U-M.
This is one of those rare, not W, but U-U. It's V-A-C-U-U-M. Whoever came up with that is just wrong.
Vacuum. Okay.
And then finally, to close things out, I'm trying to see what would be a great one. Let's go with this.
Spell the T-H-E. Yay, I got one.
Finally, folks, in Words Are Hard. Tony, how do you spell the color fuchsia? Your favorite color.
It's my favorite. Well, I've gone wrong all the time because now I'm doubting myself. F-U-S-I-A.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Tony, you almost had a New York Jets type play. Almost blanked the entire one. Actually, you did blank the entire one. They won more than you did. Fuchsia's
right?
Fuchsia spelled F-U-C-H-S-I-A. But you know,
so I was missing the H there.
You were so close, but so far. But that's why words are hard, folks.
All losses here. See, I didn't cheat. You could tell I did not use my phone. I could have easily just typed it on my phone down here, and you would have never known. But
nope.
There it is. I wrote it out. It was all wrong.
Well, folks, that does it for Words Are Hard. When we come back, we have a segment called Bye, Roomie. We'll see you in a few.
Bye-bye.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. We've reached the final segment of the first hour, but don't fret, there is still plenty ahead into our second hour with our call-in topic, Streaming Wars. You won't want to miss it. But if you did miss a portion of the show or want to catch up on any of the previous shows, it is easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, about 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think, and tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Now, in this segment that we've titled Bye Roomie, a couple days ago we were talking about, the moment you knew your relationship was over. Well, in this case, we've got some moments where people knew that their roommate relationship was over. Now, Tony, have you ever had a roommate where, either they did something or there was just a common pattern that they had that at some point you were like, I just can't live with this person anymore?
I've always had really good roommates. I had the one upstairs, I won't use names, but I had one that lived above us that sometimes would text while I was sitting, I was down in the basement, I'd get home from work, I'd turn on my TV, and it would be I can hear your TV through the vent, can you turn it down? But my TV would already be super low, and it was just like, but then there'd be the days where I had to work early and he'd be upstairs doing his thing, and you could just nonstop hear the stuff, and it was just like, ugh.
Right, stomping, dogs on the floor.
Yeah, but I guess, maybe it came from my last place. As much as I loved living there, I think when it came to always having the kids outside my room and constantly like 50 million people on the internet, and then everything slowed down, it was just like, okay, it's time. If it was just a couple of us, it would have been cool, but when you have so many people in the house and it's like you had no privacy, it was a little, but I really enjoyed my time there. It's just, I got to the point where it's like, it's time to go. So.
Yeah, and obviously if you're in a relationship with someone, maybe some of these things you can look past because you deeply love and care for them. If they're a roommate, maybe not. Maybe it's time to just let them go. So we're going to run down some moments where roommates pretty much said goodbye.
Damn!
For instance, this one from user Mildly Infuriating. It's a picture of a plate full of cupcakes with a what looks like a peanut butter frosting on top, and then some imprints, some ribbed imprints. You can tell something used to be there. They said, my roommate ate all of the peanut butter cups off the top of the cupcakes that were made. Come on. I mean, sure, you get the munchies, but, take the full cupcake. Don't eat all of the peanut butter cups right off the top.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool.
Inconceivable! Moving on to this next one, toilet paper rolls. Something as easy as toilet paper rolls. There's a picture of one of the ones, not where you have to pull the little thing off, but it's just like a C where you slide it on. Well, apparently this roommate was so lazy that not only did he not take off the old toilet paper roll, he just moved it up the C, put the new piece of toilet paper on, and this is probably the biggest offense, he didn't even have the roll rolling over. It's rolling towards the back, and that's unforgivable.
Yeah, when it's wrong to the back, right? It's not the way.
No, it's not the way.
Inconceivable!
Moving on with Bye Roomie. This from user Bunyan. It's a picture of a cookie tray. Of course, you cook pizza on there, and obviously, if you've got a pizza cutter, you want to be careful with it, that you don't go too hard, that you don't cut into the cookie tray. Well, it looks like somebody was trying to exorcise a demon, because it looks like they just grooved across into that cookie tray, and it's pretty much ruined. And that's not the way you treat, especially if it is your roommate's cookie tray, pan, tin, plates, whatever it may be.
Yeah, if you're going to live with somebody, you want to respectfully not use their stuff or ask, you don't just go in and take their stuff and or eat their things. None of that, But I've been, every time I've had roommates, I've never had that issue where like my stuff got eaten and stuff. Just when I was married, it was the only times I used to really be big on Almond Joys, like when I would eat candy bars.
Don't touch my Almond Joys.
Well, I'm weird. I'll eat them when I'm ready to eat them. So I'll set them aside, but it was always it'd sit there, and finally the day I wanted it, it was gone. I'm like, what happened to it? Well, it was just sitting in there. Just because I don't eat it for a while, I'll eventually get to it. Maybe not anymore. I don't do candy too much now, but
I've been there. I've had to hide food that I want to make sure that I was going to eat, because I bought for a special treat for myself and knew would be eaten if anybody else found it. So I've had to hide it before. Yeah. Let's move on with Bye Roomie.
Inconceivable!
Speaking of foods, Tony, what is your stance on stale chips? Are you, I'll still eat them anyway, or are you, it's stale, they're in the garbage now?
They're in the garbage. They just take away from the flavor, like a stale Dorito, there's something weird about the texture on it at that point, so it just goes in the garbage.
Well, then this roommate would infuriate you. Obviously they make chip clips so that when you open it up, you can roll it back up, put the chip clip on, and try and maintain as much of the freshness as possible. Well, here's a picture of a bag of Lay's where the chip clip is basically just on the top of the open bag with the sides wide open. It's practically useless at this point.
Yeah. You don't leave it wide open. I mean, I don't know. Is that something, would you eat? Do you like stale chips, or?
I'm okay with just slightly stale, but if it's too stale, I'll toss it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Mine's got to be pretty dang stale. If it's a little stale, I could probably get past, but usually, especially if it's just a regular tortilla strip or something, you're just dipping in salsa or something.
Exactly.
That's okay.
All right, let's move on with Bye Roomie.
Inconceivable!
Bye, Roomie.
Tony, what is your stance on Tupperware and leftover containers? If you're done finished making something that you've got something left over, are they going into a Tupperware container and into your fridge, or in the original item that you cooked them in?
I'm pretty partial to eat. I'm not really partial to one another. Typically, okay, so if you bake a casserole or something, that could probably just stay in the glass thing. I mean, there's no point in dirtying up another dish, just You could either reheat it the next day for leftovers, or you could just cut it and put it into a Tupperware to take to work or whatever. That one's probably okay, but if it's like, or I think even pizza, I usually take pizza and I'll put that in a Ziploc bag or something because the box eats up the whole fridge at that point. But, you know, but typically depending on like if it's leftover stuff, I typically would say Tupperware, I guess.
Okay. All right.
I don't usually have leftovers, so I don't know.
I'm not a big leftover guy, and this is something that admittedly Jesse does that drives me nuts. Here's a picture of a cookie tray with tater tots that were obviously cooked on the cookie tray, wrapped in saran wrap and shoved into the refrigerator.
That's lazy right there.
Yeah. That drives me nuts. You know, she'll cook something in a pot and then put the pot in. It takes up the entire refrigerator, and it's and then it's harder to clean the pot, which is even that much more frustrating.
Yeah, that like soup, like if you make soup and stuff like that, it gotta go into like containers or something, you know, pasta, anything like that. Like when I used to make spaghetti, you know, if I ever make spaghetti, if I make a little too much, then yeah, I'll put the rest in a container. I never would put a pot in there.
No.
My fridge is not that big in general, so it's the less stuff that has to go in there, the better.
And then finally, with Bye Roomie.
Inconceivable!
Tony, where do you stand on dirty dishes? If you cook something, are you washing it right away? Are you leaving it to soak in the sink for a little bit? What do you do?
I can't stand dishes in the sink. It drives me nuts. I have OCD with it. I think it's because I grew up. I was telling my sister this the other day. We grew up in the house where things would soak for days, and like there was always dishes piled, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. Like I get annoyed if there's like a glass or two sitting in the sink. Depends on what you cook. Sometimes you do have to if it's something you have to get off the pot and pan, you have to let it soak for a little bit. I understand that, but when it's time, you clean it out, you wash it, you either put it in the dishwasher or whatever.
Well, in this case, there's a sign next to a dirty pan that says number of days that dirty pan has been sitting on the stove. And of course, they've got 5 hash marks. A little too long in my book. You know what's not a little too long?
Way too long.
Is our break. We are headed into our long break. Folks, go ahead and use the bathroom, listen to the news, and join us in about 7 minutes. We will see you then. You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/therightseat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. To explore our complete lineup, head over to phoenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio.
From Feature Story News in New York, I'm William Denslow.
A goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
President Donald Trump has left the White House ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration. Our Washington correspondent Simon Marks reports.
The president's last official act as president, attending a send-off rally at Andrews Air Force Base before Air Force One for the last time, conveys him to his Mar-a-Lago Golf Club in Florida, where he hopes to set up an alternative center of power for the political movement that he claims is only just getting started. There was to be no outreach to Joe Biden or Jill Biden by either the president or the First Lady. For the first time in more than 100 years, a president of the United States refusing to attend his successor's inauguration.
Joe Biden is being sworn in as US President at around noon Eastern Time in a heavily fortified Washington. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris takes the oath of office alongside him, becoming the first woman to hold the position. Meanwhile, President Trump has granted clemency to 143 people in a late-night frenzy hours before leaving office. Nina Maria Potts reports.
Some 25,000 troops are guarding the inauguration ceremony, with Washington on edge after a deadly mob attack on Congress earlier this month. President Donald Trump is not attending Joe Biden's inauguration, becoming only the fourth president on record to skip his successor's swearing in. He leaves the White House for Florida after granting clemency to 143 people, including, controversially, his disgraced former advisor Steve Bannon, a raft of celebrities, politicians and non-violent drug offenders. He did not, as some had speculated, issue pardons for himself or his family. He faces a second impeachment trial for inciting the violence that led to the attack on Capitol Hill. Joe Biden, meanwhile, is expected to sign a flurry of executive orders in the first few hours in office, reversing controversial Trump actions on climate change, coronavirus and immigration. Nina Maria Potts, Washington.
European leaders are welcoming the inauguration of Joe Biden after 4 tumultuous years under President Trump. Lucy Hoff has more from Brussels.
The president of the EU's executive arm, Ursula von der Leyen, said Joe Biden's inauguration marked a new dawn in America and one that Europe had been waiting for. EU Council Chief Charles Michel urged Mr. Biden to form a new EU-US founding pact to renew cooperation between the two sides, with an invitation already issued to the Biden administration for an in-person meeting in Brussels when the pandemic allows. There is recognition in Brussels that Mr. Biden marks a chance for renewed alignment on areas such as climate change and defence. The incoming president has vowed to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord on day one of his administration. Lucy Hoff, Brussels.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Still joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, were you able to get some tea, some Zip Fizz, get hydrated during the break?
Yes, sir. I was ready, able, reached out to a few people for our segment. It's a fast 7 minutes as we go into the fastest hour on radio, this second hour.
I would argue...
Well, at least second hour for
I was going to say, I would argue it's the fastest hour of the day. It always seems to just fly by. Unlike, normal work where it's so slow. Each hour is just...
Yeah. I was going to say it's going to be... I got distracted because Jarvis popped up. Ding, ding.
Squirrel.
But that one wasn't Friday. That was just a literal text from someone. Anyways, yeah, squirrel. It is a fast hour. So, because work does drag sometimes. You want it to go quick, and it does. Some of the hours don't.
Nope, not so much. But I guess when it goes by so fast, it's because you're having fun. We always have fun with the show. Obviously, we love the interaction from you guys, which is why we do the interactive portion of the show, which we're in the middle of right now. Now, we do ask you...
Right now, there's no tomorrow.
We do ask you...
There is a tomorrow.
Well, let's hope so. We do ask you guys to chime in. We give the topic 24 hours in advance. Now, I did want to mention a programming note for tomorrow. Tony's got to go help somebody move tomorrow morning, so we will be running a best of for tomorrow, a replay. But Friday, we will be back with good news, everyone. We'll be doing something fun, and I will give you the topic of Friday's call-in topic towards the end of next segment. But with that being said, today's call-in topic, interactive portion of the show, is all about streaming wars. What is the best video streaming service and why? Obviously, it all started sort of, boy, words are hard today. It all sort of started with Netflix, who originally, if you don't recall, was actually a DVD delivery service. They sort of put Blockbuster out of business. They put Hollywood Video out of business because you could go online, you could put your queue together, you put your movies in there, obviously new releases, if you could get them, and then they would mail them to you in these, flat pack envelopes. You would open them up, you'd watch the movie, you'd stick it back in, you'd seal it back up, you send it back to them, and that's the way that it worked. And then they started rolling out streaming, which at the time were sort of those Z-rated movies.
They were bad. Yeah.
They were not great.
They're pretty junky.
Or they were the movies that made you think they were one thing, but they were something else. What comes to mind is like Frozen World, and it's an animated movie about two girls, one that can control stuff, but it wasn't the Disney movie Frozen. Those were the sorts of things that were on the streaming service.
Or there is a deceiving one out there. It's called MI5 instead of Mission Impossible 5. It came out right around Mission Impossible 5. and they call it just MI5. So you think, oh, it's an action like based movie like it, but it's not it.
Right. And obviously they do that on purpose to try and make you think it's that, rent it, watch it, buy it, whatever it is, to get more views on whatever crap that they're peddling. But ultimately, that's the way streaming started. It was unreliable at first, but then Netflix started getting better content, started working deals with bigger studios to get, good movies. And then they branched off to making their own stuff and making some really good quality stuff. If you remember towards the early days, House of Cards, I think, was probably their biggest, self-produced show that they put out. And then they struck deals with Marvel. They had, the Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, The Defenders, Punisher, which all brought people to Netflix. And of course, all of the other people started realizing, hey, there might be something going on here. Which brings us to now, where there's just a glut of streaming services, all have their own unique perks. And I'd even argue that Netflix isn't even the best of them at this point. There's one service that I watch probably more than others at this point, and I even crapped on it at first, but I'm going to save that for when we come back. Tony, with a minute and a half, do you have a favorite video streaming service, and why?
Yeah, well, Netflix is definitely, obviously, probably my big one, just because you have Cobra Kai. You still have a ton of content, and they constantly keep it fresh. It just depends if there's a show. Shows usually drive me to the service, and I'll go and I'll binge watch it and I'll be good. I actually have to say though that once Disney branched out, Disney Plus is my favorite because it's Star Wars, it's Marvel, so you get Mandalorian, WandaVision, and I like how they stretch it out every week. And I can go back and watch childhood favorites like Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, and all that stuff. X-Men is on there. So for me, it's Disney Plus. Hands down, it's my favorite.
That's fair enough, and it's reasonable, as far as pricing goes. It's $6.99 a month, or you can pay for an entire year and get something like 2 months off. And, you do get all of those properties, and obviously, they're no longer on Netflix, and they're starting to pop off of the other services that had deals with them. But a great service nonetheless. So, folks, when we come back, we want to hear from you. Go ahead and comment now on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Click into the live video, comment there with your favorite streaming service. We're talking video streaming service and why. We will be right back, and when we come back, it is all about you. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. Now we are smack dab in the middle of the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys on the topic of the day. You can comment now on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Just click into the live video, comment there. Today we are talking the best video streaming service and why. Talking streaming wars. There's so many of them out there, obviously. Sometimes you got to pick and choose where you put your money. But, as I argued yesterday, it's ultimately less expensive if you have pretty much most of them than having straight cable. Cable is still so expensive, and there's so many channels you don't need. So pick the channels you want, and then get a streaming service or multiple streaming services that match that. Tony mentioned that Disney Plus is his favorite. Disney Plus is a great service. But at the same time, it's still somewhat limited. We're going to see a lot more Marvel shows. We're going to start seeing Star Wars shows. Obviously, The Mandalorian is probably the biggest draw for that. And of course, it's got your full library of Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, Pixar, National Geographic. A lot of value for the money at only $6.99 a month.
Yeah, that's a really good deal. A lot you can grasp. And I would imagine, if you have kids, man, that would be one of your go-tos. But there is a lot of competition out there to get your things. And I'm so sorry. Now that you mention it, I apologize. During the last one when I was talking, I unsubconsciously just wasn't paying attention, but I kept playing around with my nose. So I have this annoying patch of hair right here, and it is just tickling my nose, and I keep messing with it, and I didn't even realize I was playing with that. So if it looked like I was picking my nose, I wasn't. I was just kind of playing with the hair. But now that Kristian brought it to my attention on the break, I now notice it more, so I'll be trimming that up after the show so it doesn't bother me.
And
I digress. This is about you guys. This is not about my cheese ball mustache up here. So.
Right. And not only was he not picking his nose, he doesn't have a coke habit, so it wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not, surprisingly, everyone destined me to be a druggie or something, but I just became a nerd instead. A nerd that drinks tea and does a radio show.
And watches Disney Plus.
Yeah, I like Disney Plus because it makes me feel like a kid.
So, going back to, the best video streaming service, and of course Netflix is the granddaddy of them all. Can you believe that this was their original pick for the sound instead of the gong? They wanted a bleeding goat, which would have been terrible. That would have doomed them from the beginning. But as I mentioned in the last segment, my pick for the best streaming service is one that I kind of crapped on at the beginning. HBO Max. Now, it's expensive. It starts at basically $15 a month. When it came out, it had not a whole lot of content.
It was disappointing.
it had the HBO content. It had a few odds and ends here and there. The big draw for me was all of the DC content, which, while the DC regular movies aren't all that great, their live shows and their animated movies are fantastic. So I was expecting all of those to be on there, and they sort of trickled in. Well, now they've come gung-ho. Obviously, they are releasing all of their theater-run movies this year straight to HBO Max, same day as they're released in the theaters, so you can watch them, similar to what they did to Wonder Woman 1984. Friends made the move over there, so we can always watch Friends at any given time. And of course, they've got, the DC content, and then they've got a huge array of movies. If you're a fan of really any of the big franchises, they've got all of the Aliens movies, they've got all of the Nightmare on Elm Street, all of the Friday the 13th. What they don't have is the Harry Potter franchise, which nobody has at this point because they're trying to, make some money. But for me, HBO Max is probably the most watched streaming service that we have right now.
Yeah, it's good. The last couple times I've come to visit you, that's been the main thing we've watched. In fact, there was the night we all got together, and we were looking for Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny. We looked, of course, the basics, the Hulus, the Netflix, the, all this stuff. And then it was like we kicked around the idea of actually paying to rent it because we didn't realize no one had it. Well, when I thank God for Google. It's like, hey, is this movie streaming? And somebody's already done the work for you.
Yep.
It's like HBO Max, and Kristian was like, how did I not know that was on there? So we watched Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny on HBO Max, and it was just great. And what I like about HBO Max as well is they have The Big Bang Theory. Like, that's a huge one. So if that's a pretty rotation. But Friends was a huge pickup, a big steal, as you will, from Netflix. That was so that one bummed a lot of Netflix out. People that had that, because like, and I have to get something else.
Right.
But I agree with you. Where we're at with HBO Max now versus May, night and day. Because when it came out, man, it was disappointing.
Oh, it really was. And of course, you mentioned Netflix lost Friends. Now they're losing The Office. That's going over to the Peacock.
The Peacock, I have the Peacock. It's not that great, but it is new. I won't crap on it, but it is a bummer because now you really are going to have to it's all about brands now. It ain't about the services. It's what do you like to watch? Because who owns it is where it's going.
Well, in Peacock,
now that CBS is going to become the Paramount network.
Exactly.
And what's crazy is they should just keep that CBS. And Peacock, I get it. That's the logo of NBC, but NBC should have come up with something else.
I agree. Now, Peacock has an interesting business model. They take sort of the drug dealer approach, where if you can download Peacock for free and watch movies and TV shows for free. However, if it's a series like The Office, they'll give you either the first season or the first 4 episodes for free. Then you got to upgrade to the premium to watch the rest, which takes that drug dealer approach. But folks, this is the interactive portion of the show. Feel free to chime in with your pick for your favorite video streaming service on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Tony, I'm sure we've had a couple of our super fans chime in. What are their picks?
Do. Superfan Stacy from Carson City. She likes Disney Plus because she's big on Star Wars and Marvel. But her big thing is she loves Amazon Prime. She loves the options of the shows and movies on there. And why wouldn't you like Amazon Prime? They have the original The Boys, which is a very different superhero show. And it's
Hard
also
R.
Jack Ryan. And
Yep.
Lots of other good original content on Amazon Prime. It's an underrated one. It's not one most people go and say, but there are some good stuff on there. And pretty much everyone I know has an Amazon Prime membership already.
Well, and that's the big advantage, is that if you pay your 100, and now it's 120, it started at 79, but even 120, you pay 120 a year, which is basically $10 a month. Not only do you get free Prime shipping on anything you order from Amazon, but Prime Video is included in that. Of course, if you're not a big Amazon buyer, you can also get Prime Video for $12.99 a month. So, it's actually going to cost you less if you get the full Amazon Prime, paying $120 a year.
Yeah, and plus there's a lot of perks to that. I mean, I like Amazon. I know it's like a big Costco competitor, and they're huge. They're definitely big time. But I like the extra perks, like the music. I don't really use the music. I kind of forget about that. We'll talk music stuff another time. But
yeah, we do the music as sort of a background thing, So we'll turn it on. It's quick. It's easy. Anybody else chime in, Tone?
Yep. Super fans Mike and Lacey, of course. They chimed in, and for Lacey, for Mike, it's Plex.
Okay.
Plex is his favorite. Is his favorite, not because it does offer some original content, but it's the ability to share your own videos and things like that. You can make it streamable for your friends.
That's cool.
So it's a more user-friendly to share pictures, music videos, things like that. So he really likes that service, and you can do other things too. But they're both joint one together is YouTube, and I'm not talking YouTube Red, but 90% of their time streaming is YouTube. And the reason why I didn't say that is one of my favorite streamings, because I said Disney Plus, but I was gonna say YouTube would be my second. Like, that's my go-to. That's actually how I watch a lot of my. I'm big on Pat McAfee. I watch his sports show. It's on YouTube. So many like big franchises do like little side things. Like ESPN has little YouTube things and stuff like that. So I can get a lot of ESPN, a lot of sports, and I like a lot of super fan stuff. Like I use it for fantasy football. If I need to know what's going on, like today, Phillip Rivers retired from the NFL. I could go on and watch his press conference. I just have to go into YouTube, type it in. Somebody's got a video of it up, and I can watch it. So yeah. I'm with them. I think YouTube is a phenomenal streaming service, and it doesn't cost you anything, which is fantastic.
Well, and part of the reason that we broadcast the show live to YouTube Live is because Mike and Lacey, they prefer it over the Facebook Live experience, and it's one of those things where creators, people like us, can put it out there for the masses to see, and it's not just relegated to the studios and things along those lines.
Yeah. And you can get a lot of fan movies too. So like a lot of people have their own theories of Star Wars, and they'll do their own fan-made stuff and they upload it. I think it's cool. Or theories. You can get lost in a YouTube rabbit hole. There is anything you like. Not to steal from Jimmy's tagline from his Pop Culture Kaboom show, but everything you want, everything you need. YouTube is the place to be. It really is.
It is. And then finally, as we head out, just one more that I wanted to mention that we do actually watch a lot is Hulu, which, they've got original content. The Handmaid's Tale is probably their biggest original series. But what I like Hulu for is a lot of the network shows, ABC, NBC, Fox. When a show is released, that week live, it also pops up on Hulu, so we can watch it at the same time. Right now, we're getting caught up on the current and last season of Last Man Standing, and Hulu's where we go to do that. So, great content, great streaming services. Of course, you folks.
Hulu's been around long, like Netflix. It was originally just the original way to cut the cable cords. It was one of the first ones. So
yeah, with live content as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Hulu is a great one. Good call on that.
Well, folks, that does it for the interactive portion of the show, Streaming Wars. When we come back, it's time for the lighter side of Satan. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. We are back. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, January 20th. Now, we talk about it a couple times each show. It is the Fenix Line. It is our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever, including our topics of the day. Now, that number is 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973 for the alphanumerically impaired. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile this together, put them out in a future show. Now, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is going to be a best of replay. Tony's helping a friend move. But Friday we will be back. And Friday's not actually a call-in topic. We are doing another call-in contest, which works a little bit differently. This is another version of Tony Beatdown, where it's going to be you, the listener, versus Tony in some sort of trivia. And the winner gets a great prize. And if you're a loser, well, you still get a great prize, maybe not as great as the big prize, but
the big prize, my friend. Get out of my pretty.
In order to be considered to be part of that call-in contest, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Kristian Fenix Radio Show. Scroll down to the contest entry form, just fill it out there, and then we will randomly draw one name from that selection to compete against Tony on Friday on the Tony Beatdown. So head over there now and just get it out of the way while you can. You can still listen to us while you're doing that. It makes life that much easier. Now in this next segment, which we've titled The Lighter Side of Satan.
Okay, that was pretty good. Like, you'd be amazed. It is hard to find a just soundbite for Satan.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, Tony and I...
It's not a bad thing. It's just...
Right.
You would think in the world of metal you would hear, like, Satan. But
yeah.
you don't hear it a lot.
Tony and I are big heavy metal fans, which unfortunately a lot of people sort of associate with Satan and, looking for, a soundbite to use for it. Didn't find one, so I made my own. Satan.
Yeah.
So We are not a religious show. I wanted to just preface this real quick. You know, we try to avoid talking religion. I'm not a religious person. I believe that you have the right to practice whatever religion you want to, as long as it's not hurting anybody, hopefully helping people out. And so came across this list, which I found very interesting. It's 10 times Satanists surprise people by doing good things. Hence the lighter side of Satan.
Yo, Satan, you're just a little friend.
Now, to give you a little context, I'm going to read you the top paragraph here. It says, when the word Satan surfaces in practically any context, it's most likely to raise an eyebrow or two because of its predispositioned evil reputation that has been present for decades. Satanists, basing their ideologies and beliefs around the notion of the devil himself, don't necessarily directly worship or engage in rituals often associated with this practice. The non-theistic religious group called the Satanic Temple, with branches all over the world, are in fact avid supporters of their local communities' well-being and regularly engage in philanthropy. It seems that it's not about the cliche performing violent rituals dressed in a black cloak while drawing inverted chalk pentagrams anymore. It's more about donating blood, assisting victims of domestic abuse, and helping out the homeless. So here's just a few things of surprisingly, things that the Satanic Temple has done to help their local community. So let's go ahead and start off with the lighter side of Satan. For instance, this poster, it says, big banner, menstruation with Satan. Join the Satanic Temple of West Florida in collecting new boxes of tampons, sanitary pads, and menstrual products for those in need. Various satanic chapters across the USA participate in this initiative to make menstruation products, including tampons, sanitary pads, menstrual cups, and wipes available to anyone in need, focusing on whoever may not be able to afford it without assistance. And again, that's sort of contrary to what you would expect from, you know, a group with that name. But, you know, ultimately, if you look into it, they're really about living in the now and helping out humankind versus, you know, trying to guarantee their place in heaven, or in this case, maybe hell. Who knows?
Huh? We just got to do a couple nice things that will be okay.
Moving on with the lighter side of Satan. For instance, this poster is titled Diapers for the Little Devils. The Satanic Temple, Minnesota hosted a diaper infant care products drive to help out those in need. They partnered with Simpson Housing Services, which is a local nonprofit supporting families with young children who suffer from homelessness. Which again, you know, you hope that, you know, more people would take up that cause to try and help people in their community, and especially kids who are in families that are homeless. They need those products, and so you know, it's a good thing that they're doing.
You know, absolutely. You know, you gotta. They go out there and they put in some good work and good deeds. Always a nice thing.
Exactly. A big movement recently has been sort of the anti-bullying campaigns. So in this case, the lighter side of Satan. The Satanic Temple chapters collectively joined forces nationwide to address abuse taking place in public schools and fight corporal punishment, use of physical restraints, restricting bathroom access, and violating other civil rights. And again, it's another good cause to get behind, not only on the bullying side, but, you know, some of the less, what's the best way to put it, good parts of public school. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in class and had to go to the bathroom so bad, and, you know, you ask the teacher and they tell you no, and, you know, you just got to pray till that bell rings, right?
Right, which they shouldn't really be able to tell you that anymore. Just, okay, you know, like some teachers were a little more lenient. You had to take that germy old bathroom pass.
Right. And of course, it's all because they thought you were going to skip class or you were going to, you know, take your sweet time. I was like, no, you just got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Sometimes I sure would be knocking on that forest door. Hello? Hey, Ronald.
So, folks, if you are just tuning in, it may be a little off-putting as far as, you know, the subject matter, but we are talking about times that the Satanic Temple has done good things for their community, hence the segment titled The Lighter Side of Satan. For instance, in this case, Satanic Australia launched the very first charity event in the country called Blood for Satan. That's not what you think. Using quite the attention-drawing slogan, Satan wants your blood, not your soul, the campaign called Satanists in Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand to save lives by donating blood, which, according to the Red Cross, has saved more than 250 lives to date. Which, again, it's a great thing that, it's maybe not the best choice of a name for your religion, but they are doing good things in their community.
Maybe they're fans of the TV show Lucifer, and they just think he's like that version of him. 'Cause he's a charming little devil on that show.
He is, and it's strange that
Hello, detective.
that the subject matters like this obviously are becoming more prevalent in entertainment and around the world, and with shows like Lucifer, where he is the hero of the show. He's not the.
And what's
Go
It's
ahead.
funny because, I originally didn't watch that show because of the title. I was like, I don't need to watch a show about a devil. I'm good. But I watched it. It's a fantastic show. This dips into our last segment. It's on Netflix. Stream it. You won't be disappointed. It is a fantastic show.
Well, not only that, but a lot of people don't realize it's based on a DC comic book as well.
No, I didn't until you told me.
Yeah.
And then you do see the DC credits in it. But, yeah, highly recommended. It's a good show.
It's entertaining.
It's a good show.
At some point, we'll binge watch that. But
Yeah, you won't be impressed. They got the second part of season 5 comes out soon, so I'm excited about that.
Good. Let's move on with the lighter side of Satan. In this case, Socks for Satan, launched by the Satanic Temple, Florida, as part of their long-running campaign, collects and distributes new socks for people on the streets. And again, living in the Reno area where we've got a large transient community, and there are always initiatives to try and, help the people who are homeless and living on the streets out. This is something that a lot of people take for granted. Socks. Something as simple as socks.
For Satan, they are the best. The evil one, he likes his socks.
I like socks.
Socks for Satan, endorsed by Paul Stanley.
And then finally, here's one that sort of along those same lines. Again, it's something that a lot of people don't really realize there's a need for on the lighter side of Satan. This is a drive they called Lord of the Ties. This clothing drive, initiated by the Satanic Temple Arizona chapter, collected business casual and semi-formal attire aimed to provide resources for community members aiming to get out of hardship as they attend job interviews and employment fairs. A lot of people just don't have a simple shirt and tie and nice slacks and shoes. And a drive like this is fantastic for helping those people out, get them a job, get them out of their hard situation.
Hey, homeless guy, do you need a tie? My name's Bob, and I'm a lead chapter at the Satanic Temple Church of Tempe, Arizona. I have these beautiful slacks and shoes and this nice devil tie. You're gonna look handsome like the devil himself. Get back on your life. Come see us at the Satanic Temple. My name is Bob. Or Bill.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Folks, that does it for this segment, titled The Lighter Side of Satan. When we come back, we are headed into the final segment of the show. It is time for This Day in History. Don't go anywhere.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. but he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Well, folks, we did it. We made it to the final segment of this episode of the Kristian Fenix radio show on a Wednesday, January 20th. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to catch up on any of the previous shows, it is easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, iHeart, TuneIn, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
Oh, yes. Don't know what that was, but okay. While you're there, be sure
It's almost like the, oh my.
Exactly.
With a lot of weird echoey, tinty stuff to it.
While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends. Because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring.
It is caring. Which is why, each and every day, final segment of the show, we like to drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Reversing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
Thanks, Siri. All right, let's kick off with this day in 1841. China cedes Hong Kong to the British during the First Opium War. I wonder if that's how the game of dodgeball got started. You got to watch dodgeball to understand what that means.
Yeah. Tell him, Cotton.
Moving on, this day in 1869, nice, Elizabeth Cady Stanton becomes the first woman to testify before U.S. Congress, which still amazes me, obviously. I was over 100 years ago, almost 150 years ago at this point, but the fact that women's rights are still quite new is very strange.
Yeah, it's strange. Women should have always had the rights. It's weird to think that they were second rate and all that, because women are pretty badass. Not badass is Miss Elizabeth Cady's hairdo.
It's
like Golden Girl curls, and then it's like Predator dreads behind it. Hi, Blanche.
Moving on, this day in 1870, another milestone moment. Hiram R. Revels, who is was an African-American, is elected to fill the unexpired term of Jefferson Davis as U.S. Senator for Mississippi. And again, you got to always appreciate those firsts.
Yeah, I like how he's so clean cut, and then he's got like this bad beard, like not bad, but like badass beard. It's just sharp right down here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I comment. I like to give you guys visuals of what I see as Kristian reads on this day.
Well, to be fair, in history, people had some pretty badass dudes, so.
Yeah, they did. It's crazy.
Moving all the way up to 1945. This day, obviously, we're expecting the inauguration to happen here soon. Well, Franklin D. Roosevelt is sworn in for an unprecedented and never to be repeated 4th term as U.S. president. I guess I never realized that he served 4 terms. I always thought it was 3.
Yeah, he died during his 4th term.
That's right. That's
and
right.
He didn't make it through the entire one. It's crazy. I'm actually glad they can't do 4 terms, because then you're just like, oh man, like 2 terms is enough sometimes.
Right, and then you get a sort of a Caesar type thing where it's just like, I'm just going to continue being the president.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Franklin Roosevelt, what a man too.
Yeah.
Really great for this country, yeah.
Here's one of these this day in history things where I really want to know the backstory and more information on, but it only gives us sort of the headline. This day in 1949, J. Edgar Hoover gives Shirley Temple a tear gas fountain pen.
Yeah.
Is she 007? Is she using it against somebody else? Was it meant for her? I want to know more.
Shirley Temple is a badass agent off the good ship Lollipop. Shirley Temple has a tear gas fountain pen given to her by J. Edgar Hoover. Watch Shirley Temple in The Badass Agent.
Does she have...
Actually, that's, I've never seen Shirley Temple, like, other than as a little girl. You used to seeing those things when we were kids, and then, of course, when she was an older lady. But, like, as a younger, like a teenage Shirley Temple, that's an interesting picture.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
Not to mention, like, a tear gas fountain pen. What the holy heck?
Right. I want to know more.
I do too. I'm intrigued.
All right, but unfortunately, we do have to move on, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. This day in 1953, the first live U.S. coast-to-coast inauguration address by Dwight D. Eisenhower. Of course, 1953, people started getting TVs in their homes more prevalently. And
Be like Ike. Be like Ike.
And you could watch those things a little bit easier than having to tune into the radio or however they did it before. Pigeon carrier, smoke signals. Who knows?
Yeah, crazy, but it's good they went across. So
this day in 1956, Buddy Holly records Blue Days, Black Night in Nashville. And every time I see him or I hear his name, I can't help but think of the Weezer song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now it's in my head. But I tell you, based on this picture, if they do a Buddy Holly updated biopic pick, which they won't, but if they did, Wolf Finhard.
Finn Wolfhard? Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard, right there.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, looks just like him.
Pictures like eerily resemble it. They were like you put side by side, pretty close.
That's crazy. Moving on, this day in 1964, Meet the Beatles album is released in the U.S. Obviously, that was early Beatles before everything started going downhill in the early 70s.
Meet the Beatles. We're here. Beatlemania will run wild, brother.
A lot of people don't realize that they were only together releasing music for 9 years. People think...
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Man. They are... Sometimes those bands that were only around for a small period made the bigger impacts, like Nirvana.
Yep.
Nirvana made that huge impact going from hair metal to, or as my friend Stacy likes to call it, butt rock. She's like, ew, you like butt rock? I'm like, well, yeah, I like hair metal because it is butt rock. But I digress. But like Nirvana, they're so like iconic and big, and they really were only around for a small period,
Yep. And the funny thing is, moving on to about 9 years later, this day in 1971, John Lennon meets Yoko Ono's parents in Japan. Of course, that was sort of the downfall of the Beatles. And I dare you to look up any Yoko Ono song and try to suffer through the entire thing.
My thing, too, is like, I know it's not always about looks, but when you're a Beatle and you could have anybody, why Yoko Ono? Like in that picture too, woof.
Good question.
I know it's a modern day Yoko Ono, but
still, this day.
Come here, Jenny.
Same day, 1971, the single What's Going On by Marvin Gaye about police brutality is released. I never realized that that was the subject of the song. I just know it's a good song.
Yeah, it is a good song. I didn't know it was about that. It's would have been fitting over the summer of last year.
Yes, most definitely. This day in 1980, President Jimmy Carter announces the U.S. boycott of the Olympics in Moscow. Obviously, that was the year before we were born. I didn't realize that that had happened.
I didn't know either. You know, Jimmy Carter's still around doing great things, and he's out there helping veterans and all kinds of stuff.
He is, but every time you see him, you feel so bad for him. It looks like he looks
painful.
He was part of a fight club because,
Yeah.
Here's one for you, Tony. This day in 1982, heavy metal musician Ozzy Osbourne bites the head off of a bat on stage in Des Moines, Iowa.
He's like Ozzy's iconic, but man, when he talks, you cannot understand a word he says.
Not a word.
But that's crazy. I didn't know the infamous bat incident was in Des Moines, though.
Yeah. So you learn something new every day. Let's move on. This date in 1983, American gangster Roy DeMeo is found murdered in his car trunk after disappearing a few days earlier.
Fatality. That's what happens when you become a rat.
Yep.
I smell a rat.
Snitches get stitches.
Yep. That's what happens, Roy.
This day in 1987, bank robber Robert A. Litchfield is arrested right here in our backyard at Lake Tahoe. Nice little local news piece.
I got caught at Cave Rock, man. The stash gave it away. It was at Cave Rock, man.
And then finally, this day in history,
I don't know.
This day in 1998, Dawson's Creek, created by Kevin Williamson, starring James Van Der Beek, Katie Holmes, and Joshua Jackson, premieres on the WB in the U.S.
Oh, the Dawson. Every girl I knew in a high school watched that show. And with fairness, James Van Der Beek was the looker for the ladies. I mean, because Katie Holmes, woo.
Oh, yeah.
Always a hottie. And this is the first time, like we did this day in history, where everything you said actually showed up on my screen.
Nice. I don't want your life. Well, folks, we are headed into the...
Seen them now. They definitely have aged.
Yes. We're headed into the final minute. Let's run down some holidays for today. Many to go through, so we'll get through them quickly. Today is National Camcorder Day. Does anybody still have a camcorder?
No. My dad's still paying off his Sony from the 90s.
It's Inauguration Day,
kidding.
obviously.
I'm kidding, Dad.
It is International Day of Acceptance. It is Museum Selfie Day, if you're allowed to take pictures. It is
I would be in there.
It is National Butter Crunch Day. Okay.
What?
National Cheese Lovers Day. Yummy.
Oh, I love cheese.
Penguin Awareness Day, so watch out for those penguins. It is National Disc Jockey Day. That's quite fitting. And it is Take a Walk Outdoors Day. So head on out. Not only enjoy your Wednesday, enjoy your Thursday. We will be running a replay tomorrow, but we will see you guys back on Friday. Have a great day, everybody.
Peace.